Eddie Redmayne is with us. As you know, we've been excited all morning for this. He's up for an Oscar for playing Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything. Here's a clip.
Please, if you care about me at all, then please just go.
I can't.
I have 2 years to live. I need to work.
I love you.
You've that's a false conclusion.
I want us to be together for as long as we've got, and if that's not very long, well, then that's just how it is. It'll have to do.
You don't know what's coming. It'll affect everything.
Oh, Eddie, thank you so much for being with us. We don't even know who Eddie is in that film because you so disappeared. It feels like there's no even trace of you.
Oh, thank you very much. No, it's a treat for me to be here. Thank you.
Now, I know you really did your homework for this film.
That was, if you get the privilege of playing Professor Hawking, yeah, the homework is definitely where you have to kind of start. So from the word go, the second I was cast, I was lucky actually to have 4 months to prepare, which is kind of rare in film that you have such time. But yeah, a lot of homework on science.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, you have to learn about a little bit about the science. You have to study the man because he's living. Is someone who you have to talk to and make sure you do him justice. But then also, you had to study and learn about the disease.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot.
It was different. It was, but it was what was amazing was trying to immerse yourself in all those different worlds.
Yeah.
And with the ALS, I went to a clinic in London and met some extraordinary people who are battling this disease, and met their families, and they were so generous and kind, and it was a real eye-opener for me.
At what point did you meet Stephen? Did you meet him prior to, or did you meet him after?
I'd wanted to meet him months before we started filming, but he's an incredibly busy man. So
yeah,
I could
actually,
he's got a few things that he's solving out there in the world. So I could only meet him a few days before we started. And by that point, I'd read so much about him and researched so much that it was really like meeting an idol. And so I was completely I was so nervous when I met him. I just started speaking and just filling silence with useless information.
Because it takes him a while, because how does he communicate with you? It's through his eyes, right?
Exactly. So now he basically has glasses with a sensor underneath it, and then on the screen he has the alphabet with a cursor that goes across the alphabet, and when he moves the muscle underneath his eye, it stops on one letter. So there are long silences and long pauses.
I know he gave you the seal of approval because he also gave you his blessing to use the voice that he uses in the film, which I mean, I would think as an actor that just changes everything.
Do you know what? It was amazing. He owns the copyright to that voice that we know, and so when we made the film, we had used our sort of approximated version of it, and then after seeing the film, he offered us his voice, and it did shift the musicality of that tone. Really shifted the film into something else. So we were thrilled.
What was your conversation like?
What did he say to you about it?
What do you even say to Stephen Hawking?
Oh gosh. Well, in my case, when I first met him, I was so nervous that I just started telling him about himself, for like, literally, genuinely, and he was sort of looking at me going, really? You're going to just tell me about myself? But eventually I calmed down, and he was so kind. He was a very generous man.
You share a similar birthday, right? So
this is true. This is true. No, so in the moment when I was so nervous and talking sort of at Stephen, one of the things I reminded him was that he makes a point of the fact that he was born 300 years to the day after Galileo, which was on the 8th of January. So I was telling him this, and I was like, Stephen, of course you were born on the 8th of January, and actually, you know, I was born on the 6th of January, and so we're both Capricorns. And as those words kind of spilled out of my mouth, he looked at me and spent a few minutes writing something, and then he said in his iconic voice, he said, I'm an astronomer, not an astrologer. And that was one of the most sweat-inducing moments of my life.
I feel like the whole thing was, though.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
And when he told you about, like, when you said, what did you think of the movie? Did you ever ask him that, or did you see him before or after?
Yeah, no, I've never asked him outright. I saw him before he went to see the film.
Are you afraid to hear the answer?
I was pretty afraid to hear the answer, and I said, but just before going to see the film, I said to him, look, Stephen, I'm incredibly nervous, but, you know, do let me know what you think. And again, he took a while to respond, and then he said, I will let you know what I think, good or otherwise.
Oh boy.
The otherwise word, again, still brings shivers into my body. But no, again, he's been so lovely about it.
What has this, I mean, you're going to the Oscar luncheon today.
Yeah.
This whole Oscar, I know you grew up watching the Oscars, right?
Yeah, I mean, in England, if you want to watch the Oscars, you have to wait up until like 5 in the morning or something and as a kid, I I was that kid, and it was always so glamorous and old school and kind of beautiful, really. And so I never thought that.
Here you are with your SAG award. It's
looking
been a
startled. Look at
whirlwind.
that. It has been a whirlwind. Yeah, it's genuinely, yeah, no.
And everyone thinks it's going to be like the trifecta.
Oh, I don't know about that. Frankly, it's been such an amazing ride so far. I'm just trying to just photograph it all in my mind so that in years to come I can look back and kind of go, that actually happened.
I heard you say it's like floating on a cloud or something. Like you're just in this strange sense of time.
Well, it's weird because you can't. Everyone goes, "How does it feel?" And it just, you are in this frenzy of sort of excitement and euphoria that you can't really rationalize it or explain how it feels. But it feels pretty wonderful.
But you know who can?
Who?
Your wife.
That's true.
And she keeps you grounded.
She does.
And you're still somewhat of a newlywed.
That's true.
But
yeah.
she keeps you in, where you need to be.
Absolutely, she does. She's a very, very special person.
And was it? You got married during kind of the midst of all this, so are you like did you have a proper honeymoon? Or?
We did. We got married just before Christmas, and then we went to a tiny little chalet, the two of us, for Christmas in the French Alps. We went skiing. Unfortunately, there was no snow.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of sunshine. Exactly.
It's your honeymoon.
It was our honeymoon.
You were not
How
there
much
to
skiing are you really?
True.
Yeah. We made him blush.
I'm literally beetroot right now.
I'm seeing more
I genuinely
freckles
am
than usual.
beetroot. Yeah.
You're sweating again.
Okay, talk about something else.
Okay.
Yes, good.
Change the subject.
Change the subject.
But
you've known her for a long time. What does she do? Is she in this business?
She works for an antique dealer in London.
Oh.
I spoke. So
How
she.
British.
How very British. No, we FaceTimed on the way here to the studio.
Oh.
So she's having a good day. She sold some tables.
love
or
that.
helped sell some tables.
Okay, we're not letting you go anywhere. We're
Right.
gonna take a quick break. We're gonna gain our composure.
Get rid of my beetrootness.
Yeah.